Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The Print Off the Cuff, presented by IIFL Wealth and Asset Management, corporate partner AU Small Finance Bank, in association with global insurance brokers, airline partner SpiceJet, in alliance with Indraprasth Apollo Hospitals.
How challenging has this year and a half been, given the pandemic and given that you've had to stay indoors most part of the year? Sidharth, let's begin with you.
Well, of course, I think it's been challenging for everyone, not only just cinema goers or our industry. And I feel rightfully so, priorities were just to get people healthy, people vaccinated, take precautions, be indoors, help the government solve the problem of COVID. So we were very compliant. There were people who were unemployed. Everyone's had a loss of income, lesser amount of work coming in. But as I said now, this is also our first trip to Delhi for our film to promote, and we're happy to meet people in person. It's something that we missed because I mean, you cannot just go back to everything which is on on a camera at home. But business is still not back, and again we understand because entertainment might not be priority. There are so many other aspects that India has to deal with first. So we're hoping if Maharashtra opens up, let's see how this year goes in for moviegoers.
Right. Kiara?
Well, as Sidharth said, I think it's been challenging for every single person, regardless of the field. But I think in our fields, as you said, it's a physical medium. It's not easy as actors to be constantly wearing masks. While we're working, we are in a way very vulnerable. But keeping COVID protocol in mind, I think the industry has taken every single step necessary to create that bubble and make it feel like a safe place. We've had a few times, unfortunately, and I've been on many of those sets where my co-actors have tested positive, and then quarantining for a week. I live with family, the stress of I hope I'm not come in contact, I hope I don't have it. So it is something that is sadly become such a normal part of our life right now that that we're all just trying to work around it and see how we can stay safe but continue to to uplift one another.
The markers for success used to be really different, right? It was the 100 crores club or the 200 crores club, and that's really changed with OTT platforms. Is that sort of disorienting to adjust to, or is it liberating in a way?
Well, I feel it has positive. It is liberating because now everyone's equal on that platform. You're kind of watching it purely for the story that it is, the content that it has, the performances, if it makes sense to you, something that you connect with. Though, of course, all of us are true born like theatre, cinema, goers or makers or actors. But presently, I feel this is the best medium to bring it to maximum number of people. And that's what every creative person wants. So we are here. We were actually ready last year as well.
Okay.
We announced one release date last July. We announced this July, released it in theatres, but unfortunately, as we said, even Maharashtra, the whole state of Maharashtra is still not allowed to show screenings. I think New Delhi is 50%, other states are pretty much 50%, which is limited business for us for it to release in theatres.
Is the craft a little different? If you knew, because I know that this movie has been going on, you've been preparing for it for 4 or 5 years now. So if you knew initially that this would go on an OTT platform, do you think you would have done something differently, three of you?
No, I don't think we've done anything about it because we just try to be true to what the medium is, because when you're filming a film like Shershaah, it has got this war, it's got this expansive terrain. So visually, automatically, you would be very sincere to what it needs. You would open up your frames, you would want to make it big. Irrespective whether it's going to be on a small screen or a big screen, what it needs, we were making sure that we were delivering that, irrespective of it. And we are very sure that, wherever any platform for that matter, whether it's going to be on an Amazon Prime or whether where we are going to have a theatrical release or anything, my only intention was to make sure that, okay, let them have the experience of what actually had happened at that time.
I just felt a sense of responsibility from various angles. He's such a respected soldier in the Indian Army. He sacrificed his life for all of us today, the freedom that we have. And then when I met the family, just to realize that I come from a very similar background, Punjabi middle class household. I felt, this could be my cousin, my family, my brother. and for them, it's not a commercial film. It's their son's life story, it's their brother's life story, and I have to put my best foot forward. So I think the time taken for various reasons for this film to finally culminate, it changed a lot of hands in producers and directors. Luckily, I was the only constant. So I feel more attached to this material, and I feel the kind of prep which I've put in would be slightly more and different from my previous work, and hopefully people see that. Whether it's getting him as this lovable Punjabi boy who's always positive, good-hearted, anybody you speak to from his personal life or in the Indian Army, कि यार बड़ा ही अच्छा लड़का था, मतलब and he was only 24 when he passed away. So his life within the army was very short, and such an early age for influence so many people. And with that lovable Punjabi boy, he also had such a fierce soldier qualities. Like when he was leading the pact, Vishnu and our director Sandeep have given me interviews. Vishnu and our writer Sandeep have given us interviews of all the soldiers, who were serving with him, and so they very sweetly or say with such confidence कि जब बत्रा साहब lead करते थे ना तो हमें सुकून मिलता था कि बत्रा साहब आ गए. And at 24, at 23, 24, for him to be such a fierce leader that his juniors and subordinates would feel comfortable that he's leading in the front. So much to culminate. It's very difficult to show somebody's life in just 2 hours. We've all given our best with the correct intention.
How did you, all of you, maintain that authenticity in this movie? Did you interact with a lot of army people? How did you go about it?
I think that's a very first thing we had to do, because our writer Sandeep had already done the research material, the first round of research. So when I came on board, so I said, okay, I can go through the material.
I'm sorry, when did you come on board with the movie?
This is exactly when our producer Shabir Boxwala, who had approached Sid to play Captain Vikram Batra along with the family, and then the writer was on board.
Okay.
That's next after that I came on board.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sandeep Srivastava had done a round of research, and I said, okay, this is not enough. If I really need to do it now, I've never done anything like this before, so I want to take it right from the scratch and go through the entire process. So I went around meeting almost everybody that is associated with him, with the help of Vishal Batra. So we had to meet the family, friends, and everyone. And with the help of General Y.K. Joshi and Vishal Batra, we landed up meeting most of the officers who served with him. So we were traveling all around where they were placed, in Kashmir, in Pathankot, the parts of Punjab, MP, UP, in Bangalore. Mr. Naveen Agappa is placed in Bangalore. So everywhere we were traveling, meeting. Yeah, we had to do that. We did it for a couple of months. A couple of months to gather all the material even before we could even start writing the script. Because just to get a sense of what really happened and what kind of a person he is, only then you'd get the shape of what kind of a person he was when they actually share about him, So you can use those traits and create, see, as I said, 2 hours is not enough, to tell the story. So we know for the fact that Captain Vikram Batra is known for his achievements in actually sacrificing life in capturing 2 of the most important features. That what has made him a hero and a legend. So we had to focus more on his service and the life of him, what made him what he was. So that was the main focal point to make this film.
On one hand, you have something like The Lust Story, which is really an expression of female sexuality. I thought it was a brilliant short film. On the other hand, you have something like Kabir Singh, which has been criticized for being misogynistic, for being problematic, for being sexist. How do you reconcile these worlds? And did you think twice before signing Kabir Singh, or after the movie was, when it finished, did you wonder why you did it?
So this is something that never leaves me. But no, I didn't think twice. Not before, not after. It was a film that is truly special to me. And it's perhaps, like I've said before, art is very subjective. We all view movies and have our opinions. So I'm going to set my record straight for the millionth time. So this is what I saw when I saw the original movie, and this is how I felt. Here was a pure, raw love story between 2 different personalities. One who had anger management issues, and one who was a little more, she was more reserved. They were completely opposite characters and different personalities. The one scene which the nation, a particular section actually of the audience were very unimpressed by was him raising his hand on
right.
her. But let me tell you, so was she very unimpressed by that, and that's when she left him. Once she left him, she never went back to him. She went on with her life. She had her share of hardships, but she stood as a strong woman, raising her child, leaving a marriage, leaving her father's house, and dealing with whatever she had perhaps, called upon herself by being in love. Then he comes back after a long journey of cleaning up his act, going back to her, asking for forgiveness. And that's what happens in love. Sometimes you forgive. And as God in the Bible says that if God can forgive, why can't man? And I think it's a movie, and that's why that probably touched all the people who ended up loving it so much, and it became what it became. It's a true story. Coming back to when you asked, about the masala and the authenticity, I remember hearing the narration and asking Vishnu sir, I said, did this really happen, or are we using creative liberty here and incorporating it? Are these scenes, because some of the scenes were so filmy that I almost couldn't, I wasn't so sure. And he said every scene between them that progresses in their relationship, whether it's the proposal, whether it's the filmiest scene of how he cuts his thumb with a blade and fills her mang with sindoor, and with his blood, and that's how he proposed to her. That's everything that happened. So when I met with Dimple and when she narrated, when she shared her, her story and her relationship with me, it was literally like everything that was on paper was coming to life. And I had never ever heard of such an interesting, unique love story. So everything in the film, I think one thing that we've all, been true to is playing it as authentically and honestly as possible.
How challenging is it to do a movie about a real life hero, especially when you cannot go back to him to understand him and his circumstances? So this is an interesting question, Sidharth, because you don't have the prime subject there to talk to.
Absolutely. So I pretty much, the only video I had was the interview that he had given in a tent in actual Kargil war, where he described what happened, and when he also said that my codename Shershaah was transmitted by the enemy. So that's pretty much the only video I have of this much, and him just giving his expressions and saying that. Rest, again, full credit to Vishnu and Sandeep for giving that material of research, of whether it's videos, people giving interviews, or then Vishal Batra, his twin brother, who's so emotionally, for obvious reasons, so emotionally attached to this story. And when I meet the parents also, I feel you can tell a lot about a person when you meet his family. Right. And as I said before, both his parents are teachers. They're from a house in Palampur. He studied in Chandigarh. So the challenge was the attempt was never to mimic him, was never to be like him. It's to give you an essence of Captain Vikram Batra's story. Hopefully, for the youth to see a young 24-year-old feel so passionately and strongly about the nation that he gave his life for it, the biggest sacrifice. And that's what I want to ask the youth of today, that do you feel so strongly about anything in your early 20s? It could be anything that you feel for. But I feel if we all can inspire and instill that passion in the youth, I feel, we will feel that we've added something to this country. And of course, we would want to respect the sacrifice that Captain Vikram Batra himself made.
How not to do a military film is like a Sunny Deol film, right? But how do you not do a Sunny Deol film on the military and still hope that it will be successful?
See, this was a very strange thing when we met the officers, Because on an official level, sir, what happens is, we don't have the records, of thing, because they are only citations. And most of the records, it's not like in the other countries where they're just open to the public, where you can use them. So that is where the maximum research, what is possible with us, where you could...
by the way, our citations also come from a cookie cutter. They all read the same.
Yeah, so the only possible way for us to actually do, sometimes we really struggle a lot to make sure that you really, what had actually happened with the information that you have, when you imagine them, to make sure that is it correct. Sometimes cinematic liberties, you would take only to actually dramatize the emotion of that particular event. It's not that it actually happened, So these are the information we used to find it very difficult in gathering. That is where we actually seek the help of the officers, the majors, who are there with us when we were filming. So they used to help. No, it never used to be happening like this. We don't do like this, We don't act like this. So that was great support for us. Those little nuances, details was great support actually.
So they were present throughout filming?
So they were present throughout the filming, not only the filming, also during the research actually. And it was a very nice thing of General Y.K. Joshi and the other officers like Captain Sanjeev Jamal, who was at that time, come visit us in person, spend time with them and spend time on the part of the research. And also because he was the one who, alongside Vikram, captured .5140.
Yeah.
Captain Sanjeev Jamal, at that point of now, you cannot have better account.
Absolutely.
And especially Zubedar Raghunath also, who was there with him in both the captures. Now, what information they give you is treasure for us. That is the only source of information that we have. There's pretty much a lot of material which we got, which was not even out on the public domain. When they say, what kind of conversations they used to have, that really helped a lot in getting the nuances of it.
Definitely, of course, we're aware of people and actors who've spoken about mental health. But to say that possibly this profession has more issues of mental health than any other would not be fair. I think it's because you see it in public, because everything about us is written about it. So you possibly see actors having those mood changes, feeling a bit low. The way I look at it, when I came into Bombay, I was in my early 20s. And struggling is no greater pleasure as well. You have so many ups and downs. When you're giving an audition, you don't get it. You don't have money to pay rent, or you don't know if you get a job. I became an assistant director, then I was lucky enough to audition and do that. So those 4 years were no holiday either. So I think struggles everywhere. It's something very personal as to how I deal with it. You need, certain activities in a day or certain time in a day that you need to take out for yourself. For me, I feel blessed, the kind of upbringing that I possibly have, to handle this as my job. It's my profession. Yes, there's a part of me in my profession, but that's not the whole part. So I reserve some for myself, possibly to be criticized that I don't put myself out there completely. But maybe that's for my sanity and well-being and to stay away from these mental problems.
I think to link mental health with any profession is not right, because mental health is chemicals. You don't know what terms them. This is very complicated. I think just because some professions are very visible. Sports people. See, now you had Simone Biles. And when these people come out to speak, then in fact, they don't want to speak out so that you will paint the entire profession like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the more high-stress professions they are, the more pronounced it becomes. Can you make a Madras cafe again?
Of course we can, sir. Of course we can definitely make it, actually, because it's not about whether you make it today or it was made only at that point of time. It's purely.
Will today's censors clear Madras Cafe or Hyder?
No, I think we should do it, and we should do it, and we should start facing it. Then we will know what it is.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah. Because I have actually faced situations like that, with a board, So I know. So it's pretty much got to do with you wanting to make it first. The rest we'll deal with it later. When it comes, let's face it. I think the wanting to make it is the first step.
No, but with OTT now, then since you spoke about censorship, do you think it should be left alone? Because there are talks of,
I know there have been talks about even restrictions, so many restrictions for that matter. I think we have guidelines for that, If it's going to be under 13, under 13, under 18, or above 18. Yeah. Above 18, so you can watch anything for that matter, See, the whole beauty of the OTT is, the kind of contents that is being made where you can explore it's not only art, even the most sensitive subjects for that matter, or even for that matter when you're going to try something which is really of a psychological drama or anything as that, it opens up venues for so many filmmakers.
For sure.
And that's the beauty of it for the new thought filmmakers, So when it comes to that kind of an aspect, it really helps a lot. It really helps a lot. It's not only about just being commercial.
The Print Off the Cuff, presented by IIFL Wealth and Asset Management, corporate partner AU Small Finance Bank, in association with global insurance brokers, airline partner SpiceJet, in alliance with Indraprasth Apollo Hospitals.